When Jonas has a quote-unquote learning experience like the one he had last night, the next day, do you sort of go in and pay special attention to that with him?
Well, we will watch film with him, work on it with him individually. Again, it's in the NBA. A lot depends on game experience, and he's seeing every different post-up situation. He has a guy like Al Jefferson, who's one of the best offensive post players in the league. You have to have discipline to understand what he's trying to do to you. You have to have discipline to force the catches out. You have to have discipline to make sure you late jump him and not take his pump fake. So it's a lot of things you have to learn in the floor and the speed of the game that a young player, and that's why it's hard to win consistently with young players in the NBA. But again, Jonas is going to be okay, but that's the patience you have to have with a young player, is to take the good with the bad.
Pre-game yesterday, you sort of segued into what happened actually by saying, whatever we're in the building stage. Was that sort of a prime example of
Well,
it?
it's a prime example of he and, in those situations, understanding what you got to do in certain situations. But again, until you've been into that situation over and over again, like last night, John Salmons had some of the best stunts that we've had all year, but he's been in that. He's been an 11-year vet. He's been in that league, and now we got to get DeMar and Terrence to learn to do those things naturally without having to be, coaxed and just reading those situations, and that comes with experience. And I understand that. I love the challenge of coaching young players. I enjoy that. I enjoy winning more, but I understand where we are and what we're about in the process of our, program.
For Jonas, it was sort of odd last night because he didn't play in the fourth quarter and then does play in overtime. What goes into sort of when you decide to have him go through that?
Well, the other thing, they were playing traditionally big. Yeah. That fed into it. They weren't playing small. Usually, when he's not in there late in the game, it's usually they have a small lineup with one big, and we go with Amir. But last night they stayed with Roberts, who's 6'11", close to 7 foot, and so they played with two bigs, and that led to a lot of it.
Are you seeing a progression in those types of matchups, those tough matchups for Jonas from where he was a year ago?
Yeah, he's better. He's still in the process. He's still learning the league, learning the speed of the game, and again, he's better. I thought he did an excellent job offensively when he got his catches in the post, of taking his time, reading the defense, taking what the defense gave him. He's really grown from that standpoint. But defensively, he was good in his rotations, big rotations, pick and roll wise. He was there where he was supposed to be. So again, it's a process. We're patient. He's our guy. He's our starting center for a long time, and we're just going to have to roll with him.
Last night you were mixing rotations throughout the game. When did you feel was the right time to put the bigs back in?
Well, it was the same rotation we had in Chicago, similar to what we had in Philadelphia as far as our rotation. Tyler and Patterson together, Jonas and Amir, that four big man rotation, and then Grievous. That was probably the quickest, the most, I guess, obvious different rotation. Because they were playing 2 point guards in Sessions and Walker. So we got Grievous in there instead of traditionally going with John, was the difference in that rotation. So it was similar rotations, and I thought they were good from that standpoint. But third quarter is what got us. We started holding the ball. We were indecisive. We didn't set screens in the third quarter. We didn't have good spacing in the third quarter, and we missed a lot of open shots. I told our guys, keep taking those shots. Well, guys missed wide open shots. Terrence had wide open looks. Grievous had wide open looks. Shots we normally make, and then they made theirs, and so that was a flip in the score. It wasn't anything with a lack of effort, lack of hard play. It was just simply, our guys missed a shot and they made them.
The two-point guard lineup you said last night, it was to match up. Is that something you might sort of be the aggressor with sometimes to guard against sort of bad ball movement?
Yeah, that's no question. We did that in the Chicago game. They came in, but it wasn't as quick. But we did that to get more ball movement and body movement, more pick and rolls, So we could go to that, and we will go to that to promote ball movement.
I know you haven't had him here very long participating in practice, but Chuck, how has he looked from a conditioning standpoint?
He's still getting there. He hasn't had a full hard practice yet just because of all the tests and everything going on. But, anytime you've been off for 2 weeks, that's something you got to look at and you got to monitor if he gets in. I was tempted to use him last night, but, I thought, again, JV was doing a decent job on Jefferson. Jefferson, got away from us a little bit, but, I thought JV's length was more of a factor against Jefferson than trying to get Chuck some run in there in a close game.